Hey YouTube, so I wanted to give everyone an update, and I apologize I haven't been posting a lot of videos. It's been a little crazy in our house since Carter's been born. Everything is going great to an extent, so I wanted to do a little bit of an update about what's going on and let you guys know like how things have been going, what's happening. Mainly this is going to be a breastfeeding update. So I had my 6-week checkup, and honestly up until that point I really didn't feel like anything was wrong. Carter was doing everything that you would expect a breastfeeding baby to do. We had cluster feeding, he was waking up religiously to eat, like he ate like anywhere between 2 to 4 hours depending on how long he would sleep, because sometimes he would sleep for like 4 hours, and he never cried. He was just a generally happy baby after he would eat, and he'd be sometimes awake for a little while. He was always really smiley, and it was more the social smiling, not like the, you talk to him and he smiles at you and would try to make like a grr noise and try to talk, and he was always like moving his tongue like that, like he's trying to talk. And I guess I just didn't feel like anything was wrong. And I went for my midwife checkup, my 6-week midwife appointment, and I obviously had him with me, and that was like a big huge mess. Like he was crying all the way down the road, and I had fed him before we left, and then we get there and I had to feed him some more, and it was just crazy. And again, I think in my mind I thought we were cluster feeding again, because cluster feeding usually hits like around 6 weeks. And so I got there, and then the midwife who delivered him was like, oh my gosh, he's still so little. I would think he'd be bigger than this. Why don't we get a weight? Well, she weighed him with his clothes on. Like, we weighed him with his clothes on, and he weighed, with his clothes on, 7'11", which for being 6 weeks, that's not okay. He should have been like 9 pounds, and roughly. So she was like, you might want to call your doctor about this. So then when I saw the other midwife, I was weighed, and I am 7 pounds below my pre-pregnancy weight. So I was 130 when I got pregnant with Carter, and now I'm down to 123, which is not necessarily okay when you're breastfeeding. Yes, you do lose weight when you're breastfeeding, but you don't really lose weight per se. I mean, you're burning a lot of calories, like between 500 to 700 calories when you breastfeed a day. But it's more the shrinking of your uterus. It's not really weight loss as much as it's like the shrinking of your uterus. I mean, I shouldn't have lost 25 pounds in 6 weeks. That's a crazy amount of weight to lose. So she was really concerned about that. I do have thyroid disease. I know I've talked about it in some of my other videos. I have hypothyroidism. I don't know if you can actually tell, but I have a goiter here. I've had it for forever. When I gave birth to my first daughter almost 14 years ago, she blew my thyroid out. So I battle with that. Well, she had said I really needed to call and have my thyroid checked to make sure that the medication's not too high, and that after I had the baby, since I'm still on a high dose, but I stayed on a high dose because I'm breastfeeding, so that it flipped me to hyper, and it's causing me to lose a lot of weight very rapidly. So I do have an appointment with my endocrinologist coming up, and I'll let everybody know about that. But here's the biggest thing, was the fact that Carter only weighed 7 pounds 11 ounces with his clothes on. So I was kind of trying to get a baby scale. I kept looking on Babies R Us and on Amazon and getting all these reviews, and some people said they were great, other people said they were awful, because I wanted to do like we did when I went to a breastfeeding support group, which was, you strip them naked, you put them in a clean diaper, and then you weigh them. You get their weight, and then you nurse both sides, and then you weigh them again. Do not take off the diaper, because the pee and poop that they might do during the time you're feeding them is all part of the intake. So I wanted to do that, but I couldn't find a scale that would work. Well, a friend of mine did offer to let me use her scale, and she brought it over, and I stripped Carter naked, and I put him in a clean diaper, and I put him on the scale, and I was like, I think the scale's broken. It's saying he weighs 6 pounds, 13 ounces. He can't weigh that. He's 7 weeks old. There's no way he weighs 6 pounds, 13 ounces. So I kept trying to weigh him, My husband was like weighing the cats, and he was weighing a gallon of water and trying to see if maybe the calibration of the scale was off. And I talked to the girl who let me borrow it, and she was like, no. She was like, I promise you. She was like, I just weighed my son on it a month ago, and it matched up to the pediatrician scale. So then I was kind of freaking out, and I was like, it can't be right, and maybe it is, but you know what? I'm just going to take him to the doctor. So I took him to his pediatrician last Tuesday, which was November. I'm sorry, I'm going to look it up. Well, I'm going to look it up while I'm talking to you. It was, the 12th. I took him on November 12th to the pediatrician. And they had me strip him naked. And let me go back to, my husband was doing a skin-on-skin bath time with him, because I do that normally. It's like my thing. You know, with breastfeeding, skin to skin is very important. And it's best for me to do it in the bathtub where it's warm. And he's a water baby, and he loves the water. And I guess I could never really see his back, because I was always holding him up. And my husband had him laying on his chest, and he was laying back in the bathtub. And I walked into the bathroom, and I could see his spine. And I could see his tailbone sticking up. And I could see his ribs. And I'm like, that's not right. That's not right. So that kind of freaked me out, because he looked like a skeleton, and it really freaked me out. So I called my pediatrician. I went on Tuesday the 12th, and they had me strip him naked. And at the pediatrician, he's completely naked when they weigh him, and they weighed him, and he was 6 pounds 13 ounces. I immediately started to, like, my heart raced. I'm like, what is wrong with my son? Like, he nurses great. I don't understand what's happening, you know. And the doctor came in, and he handed me a bottle of formula, and he said, you need to feed him now. Like, he needs food. And I'm like, but I breastfeed. And they did have me breastfeed first. And I breastfed for 20 minutes on one side, and then they weighed him again, and it was only a ½ ounce gain. So he was only getting like a ½ ounce per breast, which would only be like an ounce per feeding. And for a 7-week-old baby, 1 ounce is not okay. So I asked the pediatrician, I'm like, but wait, so what do you, I don't understand what's going on. And he was like, really, honestly, the baby's not thriving. He said, this isn't like, you know, they're very breastfeeding friendly there. Like, and the doctor that I saw is extremely breastfeeding friendly. He is, you know, very much breastfeeding is all they need. Breastfeeding is great. You know, don't take medications while you're breastfeeding. Like, he's very pro breastfeeding and helping you. So he wasn't doing it to be like, I read some people who say, oh, my baby's 5 days old and she's lost 7% of her birth weight. Well, you gotta understand, meconium is thick and black, and it weighs a lot, and once that's out of their system, yes, they are gonna lose the weight, because the meconium is coming out of their intestines, and it's so thick and dark and black and heavy. They are going to lose weight, but they're not losing weight because of malnutrition. They're losing weight because they're pooping out all that thick black meconium. But once the meconium's out, they should start putting on 1 ounce a day. Well, at this point, Carter was 1 ounce below his birth weight. He was 6'14" when he was born. The lowest he got was 6'7", and then he was up to 7 pounds. And when I went to the breastfeeding support group, he was up at 7'9". So somewhere between week 3 and week 6.5, my milk supply rapidly decreased. I was pumping 2.5 ounces when he was 3 and 4 weeks old, like that. Now when I pump, I'm barely getting 1 ounce of pumping. So anyway, he gave me the formula. I literally sat in the room and I just sobbed. And I said to him, am I starving him? Is that what I've been doing? And he said, I don't necessarily want to say you were starving him, but he was getting the bare minimum to thrive. Like, to hear that your child had the bare minimum to thrive, it's heart-wrenching. Like, it's gutting to think that I was barely giving my baby enough nutrition to thrive. Like, to thrive. I mean, he was shrinking down to nothing. He was a skinny little skeleton. He looked like a baby you would see on one of those Save the Children ads that I see at 2 a.m. when I'm breastfeeding, and you want to send all your money and all your food and all your water to these little starving babies, but I was holding a baby that looked exactly like that, and I didn't even see it. How I didn't see it, I don't know. Maybe because he's always stressed, I want to give him a bath, he's always laying down, and, you know, we've always joked about his skinny little chicken legs. I mean, I guess I just didn't see it, but I felt that something was wrong. I had been feeling like something was wrong for about 2 weeks, because when I did pump, I didn't see my milk separating, so I didn't think there was a lot of fat in my diet. So I started eating all of these like high healthy fat foods. Like I had a period, a week where I wasn't eating all that great, but it was because I went back to work. I do home daycare, so I was tending to the daycare kids, tending to my homeschool kids while I had an infant that was nursing, and that's a lot on one person, and I will admit that it's a lot. It was a lot on me, and I just, it was a lot, and maybe that's what decreased my supply, because I know stress can do it too. But you know, I got on La Leche League, and they're saying it doesn't matter how much water you drink or what your diet is, your body will always produce enough milk for your baby, but your body might suffer from it. So I don't understand what happened. I just don't understand. I wasn't taking my thyroid medication like I was supposed to, only because I kept forgetting, but that can cause issues with your milk supply. But it said once it's regulated, then you should be fine. So anyway, let me go back to me starving my baby. So I had to put him on formula, and it killed me. And I came home that night, and I cried, and I cried, and I cried, and I cried, and I hated myself, and I could barely look at my little baby because I felt like I was looking at a baby that I had starved. You know, I thought I had a good baby. Let me just tell you this, because when I started getting like this feeling that something wasn't right, and the feeling didn't come from him, it was just like a feeling I had deep inside, like that mommy intuition that just something wasn't right. So I started looking online, and I'm doing the checklist on Kelly Mom. Is your breast milk supply actually low? You know, you can't judge it, because I kept saying, God, my boobs are they stay soft all the time. Oh, you can't judge it by how soft your breasts are. He had wet and poopy diapers. He didn't cry unconsolably. He never cried, ever. I mean, he had fussy days, but he was fussy, but he didn't cry. You know, when you hear about babies who are starving, they're always crying all the time. He wasn't crying. You know, what are the other things? You can't base it based off of what you're pumping, because a baby pulls out more than what you're pumping. All of these things, I'm like, check, 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 check. Okay, maybe my milk supply is fine. So when I said that to my pediatrician, I'm like, why doesn't he cry? Why doesn't he why is he pooping and peeing his diapers like a normal baby? I don't understand all of these things. And he looked at me and he said, because he was getting the bare minimum to produce all of these things. So my thing here is, I want to say to breastfeeding moms, is if you do have a feeling that something is wrong, get a scale and weigh your baby constantly, like consistently, but do it the right way. Put them in a clean diaper, nurse them, figure out what their intake is every feeding, because I was going by what I was reading on the internet. Granted, I know Dr. Google is not okay, not safe, and I almost Googled like intestinal diseases where babies don't absorb nutrition, because I was freaking out about that, but I didn't do it. I said, okay, I'm gonna have to give him formula. I can do this, it's fine. I hate giving it to him. I did not have any milk in my freezer, so I couldn't do it. And a lot of people say don't supplement with formula, supplement with breast milk, but I'm not producing enough to supplement with. So my diet this past week has been Fairhaven Health's Nursing Blend. I'm taking Wishing Gardens Milk Rich. My breakfast has been steel cut oats with flaxseed. My dinners have been salmon and asparagus. My lunch has been turkey, avocado, like I'm eating avocado, asparagus, flaxseed, steel cut oats, like all of the things. My Milk Rich Drops has blessed thistle seed, it has goat's rue, it has fenugreek, it has fennel seed. It's got all of the things that are supposed to make me produce milk in it that I'm trying to do, and it's not working. I saw a lactation consultant. I am pumping every 3 hours. She told me to do breast first, and then, but I can't even get him to take my breast at all anymore. Like, he will not take it. He sucks a couple times, and then he cries, and he pulls off. And she had me switching every time he does that, and I was doing it, and then he was getting too upset, so I hand him to my husband. My husband feeds him a bottle. I pump. Some feedings, if I go a long amount of time, I'm able to get 2.5 ounces, but if I go short amount of times, I'm barely getting an ounce. I'm barely pulling in an ounce. So it's every 3 hours, I'm getting roughly 2 ounces combined from both breasts. He is putting on weight. He does look a lot better. He is staying awake more. That was the other thing the pediatrician had said, and when I asked him why he doesn't sleep, or why he, sleeps fine, because I had even posted on my Facebook, wow, I'm the luckiest mom ever, my baby's sleeping through the night. Like, I thought that he was fine. I honestly didn't see it, but he was sleeping through the night because his body was conserving calories. Like, it makes me want to cry just thinking about it, but his body was conserving his calories because he wasn't getting enough from me. It was survival mode. My son's body was going into survival mode after I was feeding him and he wasn't getting enough. That's one of the hardest things to deal with as a mom, to think that you were harming your kid when you thought you were doing what was best for your kid by breastfeeding. I'm sorry. I'm still battling this. I'm doing everything I can. I'm going on Monday. Today's Sunday. I'm going to go tomorrow and meet with a lactation consultant again and try to get the Medela supplemental nursing system, which is a bottle with a tube that attaches to my nipple, so I can try to get him back to breast. But as of right now, he's refusing me. I mean, but can you blame him? I starved him. I don't think I would want to nurse from somebody who wasn't giving them what they needed either. If anybody has any advice or suggestions, I'd appreciate it, but please be gentle with me as I'm already very upset. I am doing everything that I can to get my supply back up. It's hard when you have a baby who won't take you. I'm trying to pump, but that hurts and it's hard. I'm getting to the point now that I'm sitting at the machine and I'm going to turn it on and I have to kind of pull back because I can't just trying just to turn the machine on hurts me right now because I'm pumping so much trying to get my supply back up. I'm trying skin to skin. I'm doing all of the herbal stuff that they're telling me to do. I reek of maple syrup. Like, my armpits when I sweat smell like maple syrup. I'm doing everything I can. But as of right now, he's on formula. What breast milk I do get that I am supplementing, breast milk I do get, I am trying to freeze so that I have some kind of stash. I don't want to keep beating myself up, but I feel like that's all I'm doing. My whole family's worried about me because everybody says, feed your baby, whether it's breast milk or formula, just feed your baby, and I am doing that. Please don't think that I'm not. I'm feeding him formula. He gets 4 ounces every 3.5 hours. He's doing great. He's thriving well now. We go back to the pediatrician on Wednesday. I just am feeling defeated because I know that we're not having any more, and it took us so much to get him that I wanted to experience this breastfeeding thing because I never did it with my other kids, and I loved it. I got through the sore nipples. I got through all of the things that I didn't think that I was going to be able to do, and my milk supply is what killed me. So if anybody could please just give me some advice, I'd appreciate it, of what I could do or not do or what. But I'm doing everything I can, including not sleeping, which is why I look a hot mess, because I am pumping through the night while my husband sits beside me and feeds my baby a formula bottle. So just pray for us. Pray for me. If this doesn't work out, then I'm content, and I will try to keep you guys updated, and you guys can ride this roller coaster with me. I'm going to try to video all my emotions because I really think that there's a lot of moms out there that suffer through this and don't have any resources or anybody to talk to. I just wish it wasn't based on the fact that I have a baby who doesn't thrive on my breast milk. I wish it were something different, but it's not. So Thanks for watching. I know this was a little long. I appreciate it. Thanks. Bye.